That's fine.
Okay, for starters, who is Vrose?
Oh, okay. Well, I'm Vrose. I love Jesus. I love to sing. I've always loved to sing since I was a kid, and when I was a kid, I grew up listening to Christian music, but I always wanted, you know, some music that I could relate to more on a level that a kid could relate to, and so that's when I started writing music. For my peers, for my friends, for me, stuff that we could relate to, and then that's sort of what kick-started me into this whole movement of, talking to girls about subjects that normally people don't discuss with them, in music, and I just love to make fun music that is really good quality, and that has a Christ-centered message that parents won't feel bad about letting their kids listen to in the car. So, family-oriented, definitely Christian-based music.
Okay. Oh, now aside from like the off the stage, who is now Vrose off the stage and out of studio? Is that
Yeah,
the side of Vrose?
yeah. Off the stage is more work than on the stage. So, an artist typically has to do. It's not just like you get to sleep in every day, and you don't have a normal 9 to 5. You actually work all day. So right now I'm working on an album. So off the stage right now, I am waking up and going to sleep at whatever time I'm done working, and trying to write music constantly. I'm writing for my album. I'm writing for another album coming out that Clearside's putting out, and I'm also writing for a movie that's coming out. So I'm constantly writing. I'm a big writer of Christian music, and also I have a family back home. I have a little brother. I have 6 brothers, but I will go hang out with them. I have a dog that I hardly ever see because I'm constantly on the road, and constantly traveling. So there isn't much off time that you get as an artist where you're not doing something about your music or your ministry, because it takes that much work off the stage just to get on those stages.
So most questions have always been, how did you meet Flame? How did you join Clearside? Now, how did you meet Spec? He has proven to be one serious producer who's blowing everyone's mind down here.
Spec. It's so funny. So I'm from Sacramento, California. Spec is also from there. And I started looking for producers when I was about 15 or 14 and 15. So I worked with a few other producers, and they were cool, but they weren't the best producers around. And then somebody introduced me to Spec, and I had heard of him before because I went to one of his concerts, and he was doing a concert with Mary Mary, and my cousin was telling me about him, and so when somebody suggested that I should work with him, I kind of already heard about him, and so I listened to his album. He had an album out called The Passion. Amazing record. Definitely want to look that up. And so I listened to his record, and I was like, he's really good. He produces all his stuff. He writes all his own music. That's definitely someone I want to meet. So we called him up, and we set up a session. And I knew from the first session that I wanted to work with Spec because I was kind of starstruck a little bit, just because he's just so amazing. Like, I just felt like I was in the studio with, like Timberland or something, and Spec has sort of become that for me. Like, he signed me when I was 17 to a management deal and development deal, and he sort of developed my sound. He made me study music, and taught me how to sing in the studio, taught me how to sing live, taught me how to, do interviews. He took me to all business meetings to make sure that I knew about the industry, and that I wasn't just a pawn in the industry, but that, I was intelligent and that I knew what was going on with my, name. And so that's sort of how I met Spec, and then that's sort of how he became this major part in who Vrose is. So.
in a world that is dominated by the likes of Lady Gaga, Rihanna's, and the likes, like the challenges as a female artist, pop artist, who's trying to take the same kind of music as they do?
Yeah. That's a good question, actually. Well, I'm not per se in the same world as Lady Gaga and Katy Perry. So I do want to influence their fans with my music, but I also have my own fans, and so there's not really a challenge there. I think that if Katy Perry didn't talk about some of the controversial things she talked about, and she just sang positive music, that people would still love her.
Well, pray for me, because it is a challenge, but I believe that God is with me, and I believe that I have a really good chance. I believe my music is just as good as Katy Perry's music. It's just as well written, well produced, well sang, and so it is hard because they sell sex. That's the big thing is, that's what they're selling, and I'm offering something way different. But I'm offering, something that is life-changing, and that is well rewarding. So I know that God will do whatever He wants to do, and if that's what He wants to do with my music, then He'll do it. I just have to make sure I'm doing everything I can, challenges or not, to make sure it's the best and that I'm well representing Christ in the best way. So
That's wonderful. Basically, in your music, you specifically have a goal, like what exactly like the basic target, the person that you are targeting out there, and what feedback would you love to get from your production?
Yeah. It's funny, I've learned from my last album that the age group of my fans is such a broad spectrum. I get girls who are from 2 to like 18, and then I get 20-year-olds, I get 30-year-olds, I get moms, I get dads, I get, everybody, and that's really a great thing for an artist to have, is, a lot of people love something about you. But my heart is always with the young girls, because I feel like when you're young, it's the most difficult time of your life. You think that, and those are the years that really shape your life. The decisions that you make, the things that you learn, and sort of, you're like a sponge, and you soak up certain things and you take them and you make them become part of your life. And so I just know that when I was growing up, there were so many things I didn't know. I was so naive to the world, and gosh, just so many things that I wish somebody would have told me, about, and sort of explained to me and helped me through it. And so that's what I'm trying to be for these girls, for these boys that are growing up, that are being faced with peer pressure, sex and drugs and bullies, and I mean, there's so much of it these days. And I just am offering them love in God in replace for all of that, and self-confidence in God in replace for trying to be accepted by others. And now more than ever, our world is being dominated by this fantasy of glamour, glitz and glamour, that they want us to feel like this is what it means to be happy. And so that's actually where I'm going with my next album, is just trying to give a Christian worldview on, that, and try to help navigate this stuff for everybody else.
Either you are involved, like you are doing pop music, rock, pop
Yes.
music, rap, which is an alternative to the rap fans, hip hop fans.
Yes.
Basically, it's an alternative to them. So, why? Basically, it has been observed that there are few female MCs who are embracing both pop and then rapping under the Christian fraternity. Why are there few? And what can be done to see that at least the talents are developed? We may see more of the female taking up the stage.
Yeah. I think. I don't know why there isn't a lot. I wish there were more. But I think there is such a strong pull from secular music. Like I said, girls used to grow up and want to be, Christian artists. But when you get to a certain age, they put money in front of you, they put fame in front of you, and they tell you that you're not going to have to do anything you don't want to do. You just can't talk about God. And so these really talented girls and guys are growing up and they're getting deals with these mainstream people, like Chris Brown started out and he was just a positive singer. And then eventually the money and the fame and that world starts to change you, and then, look at what he is now. I can't even listen to his songs without hearing profanity. Same thing with Justin Bieber, we're seeing the same thing. Katy Perry, we're seeing the same things. Katy Perry was a Christian artist, and her deal fell through and she went to another label and became a secular artist. And so, I think that there's just, the world has more to offer in this world, and it's tempting for, young, naive, undeveloped, new Christians. But, for me, I just am probably different because I always knew, God told me when I was 6 years old that this is what I would be doing. I was going to sing for Him, and I always knew that. And I've gotten approached by other secular labels offering me deals to sign away, not work with the producer that I've been working with, can't say Jesus and stuff like that. And I've turned it down because I know that God has a plan, and I'm not worried about how famous my name may be or how much money I may get if I sign with this person. I'm not worried about that. And we need more people to not be worried about that, because that's going to be thrown in your face. As soon as you get a little bit of buzz, if you're good enough, you're going to get offered those things, and they're going to try to take you away. Why? Because they don't want Christian music in this world. They don't want us to talk about God. They don't want us to say Jesus is the only way to heaven. And they'll put out whatever it takes to get you to stop doing that. And we need more people to not be tempted by that, and to put more time into their gift, into their work, and then maybe we'll see some more people spring up. But I think what I'm doing, staying strong for Christian girls, for Christian music, is going to help, other people get into it. And I actually have a few artists now that I'm managing, so we should see some more girls popping up. I got a neo-soul R&B type artist. Her name's Chrissy Lane, and she's in development right now, but she's going to be releasing an album this year. Spec House is, we're always looking for artists. We got a group called Confess and Be Free. They're like a 50s style pop group. They're really, really good. So you should see some new stuff in the next couple of years. But I think, it's just going to take hard work and people willing to put in the time.
But don't you think also record labels have played a part in letting that happen? There are few record labels, I think, who are interested in the female artists. It's rare to find a label taking up a female artist.
Yeah, well, if you're talking about a rap label, it is hard. It's hard to find a good female MC, though. So I wouldn't be considered an MC because I don't rap. I'm actually not, affiliated with rap. I do feature on rap songs. I love rap music, don't get me wrong. But I am more electro-pop, and so it is hard. It's not to say that they won't sign female artists. I think that we're going to see more in the next coming couple years. But when I started to think, and I believe that God would make a way. If it was with the labels, without a label, you don't need a record label to put a record out. You don't need a record label, to get your name out there. And that's what a lot of people are waiting for, I think. But labels are not looking for the most talented artist. They're looking for a talented artist who's already doing music, who's already in the studio recording their stuff, who's already, has a manager and a booking agent and all of these things, because they know that person is serious about this, and they're not just gonna expect to be, have their hand held the whole time. Especially in the Christian industry, because it's, labels do a lot more work because they have a lot less employees than big, Capitol Records, Sony, you know what I'm saying?
Good advice to those artists who are aspiring.
Yes.
Before you talked about the album that you're working on, so should we expect it this year? Because some of your fans right down here eager, they are telling you have taken so long to give them something.
Yes, I know it's taken so long. My label really wanted me to push my first record, and that was really important for me as a new artist to push my record. And I'm still selling records. So, that was definitely strategic. And I also released a deluxe CD last year in May, I believe. And that has like 5 new songs on it and a few videos. So if you haven't seen that, definitely get that. Turn Up Your Light was one of my singles, and that's still one of my #1 singles right now. But yes, it has been a long time. I've been doing lots of work, doing lots of touring, and I've put a lot of love into this album. I can't release the name yet, but I will be releasing it probably the end of the month or the beginning of March. But it's going to be a great album. You can expect it in May for sure. The Blackout Circuit is coming back again this year, which is Clearside's big tour, so I'll be touring the album on that tour. And Spec and I have put endless nights and endless days into writing and producing this album, so we should have some good features and some good songs for you guys to listen to. So thanks for sticking with me. But yes, new music this year for sure.
Okay, since you have talked about like you're a co-founder, owner of Spec House, so how are you guys looking at like distributing your merchandise in Africa, like third world countries? Because there's this problem whereby in some incidences you talk to someone, they tell you they can't access those merchandise because it requires online buying. And in third world countries, not everyone can access that service. So they can come to you and then ask you, how can I get Vrose's album? How can I get the t-shirt? And you look at it, it's kind of hard for them. So are there any plans for that to help out in Africa and other?
So only for merchandise or CDs too?
Both.
Like everything?
Yes.
Where do you guys can't buy it online? It won't let you?
Some people can't access. You understand?
Yeah, that it's available everywhere, which I thought it was available everywhere. So yeah, it's definitely important to us. I think it's so cool that you guys even listen to my music. So we'll have to make sure. It might take a little bit longer to get over there, but we'll definitely have to make sure that it's up and available for you guys to buy it. So double check that. As far as our merchandise, that's a little bit harder. Our t-shirts and stuff like that, because they're only available through certain sites. That's kind of the deal we have. But I think in the future, there's a new clothing label Spec and I are going to be putting out through Spec House Media, and it's called The Producer and the Artist. And that's going to be a cool line, and I'm sure we'll make that. I think we'll do an Instagram release, so we'll do it so people can order off of there. So we'll see. We'll see what's up with that. But yeah, that's definitely a major concern for us, especially if you guys want the music. I mean, that's cool.
Okay. The other thing is that we are running a certain thing that says speak unity. So as an artist, we have had controversies that is going against each other, such stuff. So as an artist, as Vrose as an artist, how would you speak unity in this music industry, the Christian music industry?
I think the best thing I can say to unite us is to please make sure that we're not taking the main message out of whatever we do, whatever we say. There's a scripture, that says, whatever you do, whether you drink, whether you eat, do it unto the glory of God. And I think, that's the major thing, is some of us are getting sidetracked in, the legality of what the Bible is really saying. And one thing that we know is true is that Jesus is the only way to heaven. So I would say let's focus on what we know is true. And let's not put so much focus on the things that are arguable.
That's a nice message that's out there. The other thing is that we look at is that the way that the Christian music industry, how the way it's relating with the what? Let me put it in quotes, the secular music industry, like in the way that they are dictating. To some it looks like they are dictating the way we are moving forward. Like we saw there was a certain post a certain link that was put about an artist who was saying that for Christians to do what? To access the mainstream, it's like they need to get out, stop calling themselves Christians, such as stuff. They need to get away and stop, embracing the word in, like how Flame talked about it in the number one sports song. So are we like Christians letting the secular industry dictate our pace, or we are the ones supposed to dictate the pace of the industry?
Yeah, that's a hard topic to talk about because as Christians, we want to be united and we want to move as one force, but we don't. Not all of the time. And from person to person, from artist to artist, one artist can't control the other artist. And so I personally can say that secular music doesn't dictate the way I move forward, but I can't personally say that secular music doesn't dictate the way that Christian music moves forward because I don't have control over Christian music. So that's a hard thing, I think this thing is just going to have to play out how it plays out. People are going to have to see what's going to happen. I really wish that it wasn't that way, but I don't have control over that. I just have control over what I do, what God gives me to do. And I think that the best thing we can do, is to just, from person to person, focus on what God has given us to do. And stop trying to make it make sense in our minds because, His ways are not our ways. And so there's a lot of things that aren't going to make sense, and that if we spend all our time focusing on that and trying to make it our way, whether it's God's way or not, we're kind of wasting our time focusing on the wrong thing. Secular music is always going to seem like it's bigger than Christian music because they're bigger than us. Their industry, it's like our industry could fit inside their industry a million times. They have way more people running there. We have a handful of artists, and so it's not necessarily that we decide it that way, but it's just they have more financial power than we do. So it's always going to look like they're dictating it, but thank God God's looking at our heart, right, and not anything else, what we say, what we do. He's looking at what is our heart's intention, and we just have to keep our heart right and stop worrying about everybody else. Maybe we can move forward a little bit.
So, finally, as an artist, what last words would you like to give to that kid that also wants to take up that career, music as an artist? Music.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how things work in Uganda. You're in Uganda, right?
Yes.
Okay. But my best advice is my personal experience. So, well, I already said, you want to start doing it. So, it doesn't cost any money to become a singer. To start. You start writing music, even if you don't have any music. My first music were some free tracks that I got from my friend's uncle, and they were rap beats, and they were horrible. Really horrible. And I started writing songs to them. So, I think the best thing to do is, number one, make sure that, ask God, is this what I'm even supposed to be doing? Because you don't want to be hustling backwards, like we say. You don't want to be going the wrong way when God has you going a whole different way. But there's plenty of websites that you can download or play tracks that people have made, like SoundClick. You can even get people just put random music on YouTube, and you can write songs to that stuff. And writing songs, being a songwriter is, that's a huge plus as an artist, because you just open up a whole new world of things for yourself. And so, if you are interested in being an artist, I would encourage you to learn how to write songs. Number one, and they don't have to be good, but starting, you got to start somewhere. And then, if you can get a job, I got a job when I was 15 and started making minimum wage, and all the money that I made went back into my music. And so, investing in yourself is your number one priority. Invest in yourself. Buy yourself CDs. Make your own CD. Buy yourself studio time. Buy yourself a notepad. Buy yourself, anything. Invest in yourself in some way, not just with money, but with time. Every day, you should be doing something to further, your career, your music, your ministry. So that's my best advice, is to start now. Don't wait for somebody else to come along. And once you start, you'll attract the right people that are going to help you.
That's some nice advice. So Vrose, it was nice talking to you, and
Yes, nice talking to you.
we thank the Clearside Management and the Spec House for giving us this. Is it possible to give us a cappella?
Yeah. What's your favorite song over there? My
Station is not so average.
Not So Average. Okay, I'll sing something like that. Who made up the rules of how you got to be? Picture perfect, everything so magazine. I'm stuck in a world where I can't just be me. So what if I don't care? That's all you get.
Thank you very much. Have a great afternoon.
All right, thank you so much.